Sabah everybody and welcome back to the channel. In today's video we're going to check out the Realme GT Explorer Master Edition. This device was just announced this morning and it's featuring a 6.55 120Hz display. Of course we have a 4500 mAh battery supported with a 65 watt charger capable of charging it in under 40 minutes from 0 to 100%. And of course all of this is powered by the Snapdragon 870. This is TK and this is the Realme GT, the Explorer Master Edition. Let's check it out. Like and subscribe and make sure you hit that bell icon so that you're always notified to whenever we have new videos on the channel. So what we have in front of us is the entire package. We have a cover, of course, the Realme GT. This is again the Explorer Master Edition. There's two different variants that were announced today. On top of the fact that obviously we've covered the Realme GT not that long ago here on the channel. We have the supercharged 65 watt charger capable of charging the 4500 mAh battery that we have in here with a 65 watt connect capability, and of course it's included in the box. We have USB-C to USB Type-A connection to be able to connect our device and of course charge it. And they also included a very nice case in the package as well. Now Realme included in the package a nice little deck of Truth or Dare cards, as well as the shirt that you guys saw me wearing at the beginning of the video. Not only that, they also included this little plaque telling me that my unit is basically part of the over 100 million units that they've sold smartphones from Realme. You notice right there, it's 100,281. That's the actual number for mine. So it's really nice to have some type of a numeric reference as to what number device this is from Realme. Now, again, there are different variants of this. There's actually a few colors available. The one I have here is the Luna White, but there's going to be the Voyager Gray and of course the Daybreak Blue that are going to be some of the other options. There's also going to be different variants between 8 to 12 gigabytes of RAM, between 128 and 256 gigs of internal storage, price ranging from $399 all the way to $499. Now, as we talked about it at the beginning, this is powered by the Snapdragon 870, an in-display fingerprint sensor. We are running Realme UI 2.0 on top of Android 11. Now, the model that I have is the Chinese version, and I was able to obviously get Google Play services running on it, but there are also other models in other regions that are going to be released. So just keep in mind that if you were looking through the system now and we notice certain applications that are designed for the Asian market, that's probably why we have it there. But I was able to install all my applications. Again, Google Play services run perfectly fine here. I was able to download and install some of my games as well. Main things I actually did get a chance to install, obviously there's the Game Center, Game Space. If we swipe up, I have Call of Duty Mobile as well as PUBG Mobile installed, and they work perfectly. The elements that we have in here as far as the configuration, on the front we have a 32 megapixel camera. This is the IMX615. On the back, we have a triple camera setup. The primary shooter on the Explorer Edition is going to be a 50 megapixel sensor. That's the IMX766 at f1.8. And of course, we have a 16 megapixel ultra wide and a 2 megapixel macro lens. And as far as the configuration of the model that I have here, again, this is the Realme GT Explorer Master Edition, the Chinese model. This is why we have the model here in Chinese. It is running Realme UI 2.0 on top of Android 11. There was one update that did get pushed out to me. We are running here, or the model that I have has the 256 gigs of internal storage total with the 12 gigs of RAM. And again, we're able to add all the way up to 7 gigabytes of internal storage files to actually augment RAM, and that actually requires me to reboot, but out of the box it has the 3 additional one. And again, as I mentioned, 5G capable with dual SIM configuration, and I'm using the one here in the US under T-Mobile. So the display that we have here is a 6.55 inch display. This is an AMOLED display, curved edges with actually curved on the sides on both the front and on the back. Of course, this is going to be 120 Hz refresh rate with up to 480 touch sampling. The display is gorgeous, very nice, long, as I mentioned to you guys, with the camera that we have at the front. On the right side, we just have the power button and no other buttons on the side with a couple of antenna bands. On the top, we have one of the microphones, again, a couple of antenna bands present right there. On the left, we have the volume rocker and one of the antenna bands, and of course, on the bottom, a dual SIM tray supported here with the additional microphone, a bottom firing speaker that's married to the top earpiece that gives us stereo speakers, and of course, the USB-C port. You'll notice first and foremost is that we have the always on display here. This is the nice always on display customizations, and I actually did create this pattern myself, so it really rebuilds very nicely, shows us all the information we want. In display fingerprint sensor is very fast. On the left, we have access to the Brino feed. Again, this is based purely on the region or the version of the phone that I have. This is the Chinese model with Google Play services installed to it. So when you're picking it up from a different region, obviously you'll have different configurations on this end. Of course, I was able to download Call of Duty Mobile, PUBG Mobile, and all the applications. The additional ones that you'll notice peppered around or on the UI that I have here is primarily because of the version that I have. We have again Realme UI 2.0 on top of Android 11, so the O1 Ultra Vision engine is installed. Auto rotate, dark mode, of course, Realme Share, screen recording, personal hotspot, We do have NFC support on this model, one-handed mode, kids mode, and of course additional modes to be able to pick from: focus mode, sleep mode, and driving mode, but I keep it in standard mode. And of course, last but not least, is the GT function that enables us to turn on an extra performance mode within the GT performance system here. And of course, you're able to turn it on from the notification panel. I did run the Geekbench score just to kind of get a good reference of where does this chipset fall. Again, the Snapdragon 870 is essentially an improved version of the Snapdragon 865 Plus that was released at the end of 2021. So in theory, this should be very close to the 865, if not better in performance, but of course closer to the 888. So 1019 is the high score for the single score, and multi-score 2611. Under single score, 1019 is actually higher than some of the other options, as you notice right there. So Snapdragon 865 and higher, so definitely not going to be a slouch. On the multi-core, 2611, so if we scroll down a little bit higher here, we'll notice that it's present right between the Exynos 990 and of course the 865. It's a little bit higher here, the 865 Plus. Overall performance here is going to work perfectly great. It does support 5G. Unfortunately, in the US, I do not have that. As you'll notice right there, I'm actually showing 4G LTE is the maximum I'm able to get here with T-Mobile in the US. So if you're looking into importing this device, just be aware of the connectivity. It's not bad, it's just that's the best that we're able to get. But other than that, I think it's a very nice, very capable smartphone. The design that we have here is a nice little matte finish here with the white color. There is one that looks like a suitcase that looks very, very unique. And that one, unfortunately, I did not have a chance to check it out. But again, very, very nice and looks really good. The camera setup that we have on the back is very nice. Now, as far as the camera application and what we get in here, photo mode, as you can imagine, we have an ultra-wide standard focal length. All the way up to 5x. This is a hybrid zoom compatible with the lenses that we have in the back. Again, it's 16 megapixel ultra wide with a 2 megapixel macro. There is no telephoto lens, so all intents and purposes, this is a digital zoom. So even the 2x and the 1x. So the 1x is the standard 50 megapixel sensor. The 2x is pretty much almost very much a good high quality image if you want to kind of zoom in a little bit. At the 5x, it's more of a hybrid zoom, but it still provides us with decent images. On the video side, we are capable of shooting 4K 60 frames per second on the back-mate sensor. That's going to be the best solution that we get. On the front-facing experience, we're going to be basically capped at 1080p 60 frames per second. Still pretty decent. Gives us a good experience of what we're able to do. We have night mode, photo mode, portrait mode, of course. Basically a 50 megapixel sensor image, the ability of using the entire sensor power. And then lastly, we have starry mode, basically for nighttime astrophotography, slow motion, time-lapse, movie, expert mode, panoramic shot, text scanner, AI ID photo. This is, I think, a regional feature. Essentially, it's trying to take a picture of you to provide you the best image for when you want to use it for an ID. The ultra macro, of course, using the 2 megapixel sensor that we have on the back, street photography, as well as Brino scan, and that's primarily meant more of an image scan to compatibility with the Brino feed that we have here on the left. But of course, let's not waste any time. Let me give you a quick sample on the front-facing and the back-facing camera video from the brand new Realme GT Explorer Master Edition. So we're going to start off with the front-facing camera here on the Realme GT series. Now, the front-facing camera experience is going to be capped at 1080p 60 frames per second. Not a bad idea. 60 frames per second is consistent with what we're able to get on the back. It's going to be 4K 60 frames per second. But this again is a quick example of the front-facing video and audio from the brand new Realme GT Explorer Master Edition. So I went ahead and switched over to the 4K 60 frames per second. Now, unfortunately, no stabilization is offered here. If you do want to turn on stabilization, that takes you down to 1080p 60. But should be a pretty good example of what the front-facing camera and back-facing camera experience is for video. Again, 4K 60 is going to be the best that we can get here with the Snapdragon 870. We have the ability of configuring the SIM cards, the dual configuration, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, connectivity and sharing, personalization, the ability of changing the theme, the wallpaper, the always-on display, the icon style, app layout, even down to the fingerprint animation, and of course, colors, fonts, and always on. Well, basically this is the edge lighting, and then video ringtones, so you're able to turn them on for video calls. The other option that we have also under sound and vibration, we're able to go in there and customize the Dolby Atmos for the different experiences that we want to configure. Again, stereo speakers in here, and of course that should be really good, especially if you want to customize those experiences there. Now, under the convenience tools, you'll notice that we have the assistive ball, we have the quick return bubble, smart slider, quick launch, split screen, of course, the rep packet assistant. Again, this is a regional feature, and of course gestures and motions. As you notice, I am using gestures. Now, as far as what we get is, here with the audio, stereo speakers, we're going to go ahead and bring the volume all the way up to 100% so that we can get the best experience. And of course, as usual, we look for our NCS song, Jumbo by NCS Release. And here we go.
Jack it up.
No question, speakers sounds great. Again, you can customize them with the Dolby configuration in there, and it's not going to disappoint, of course. Now, of course, one thing to keep in mind is we do still have the GameSpace as configuration app that allows us to actually configure and customize our experiences. We're able to turn on Pro Gamer mode. Basically, right now we're running in balanced mode. Pro Gamer mode overclocks everything, gets everything running at the best performance. We have the ability of also turning on Quick Startup to launch it much faster, Smart Game Assistant, 4D vibration using haptics, and of course, photorealistic enhancement, game filters, voice changer if you want to be able to record your voice in the videos, block incoming calls, network acceleration if you want to be able to use both Wi-Fi and basically mobile data, and block notification and auto update via Wi-Fi. So all the configurations are there. You can customize it by app or basically by experience. So let's go ahead and take a look real quick at the configuration that we get with PUBG. Sorry. Let's go ahead and take a look at the configuration that we get, the best configurations on both PUBG Mobile and Call of Duty Mobile. Now, while in the game, you're able to swipe up from the left and of course access all of those configurations, as well as actually start video recording of your content. And of course, all of that is just sitting here right there on the left. Now, as far as configuration here with PUBG Mobile, the best configuration under graphics we're going to be able to go to is Extreme. Now, we do have HDR and Ultra HDR here, so I'll go ahead and turn it off, or Ultra HD. I'll give it a second to download. But more than likely, the best solution is going to be HDR and Extreme. Once we go to Ultra HD, I think for the most part that kind of drops. So I'll give it a second to finish downloading. Of course, the moment we turn on the Ultra HD, that actually does drop us down to Ultra. So for the best solution as far as best frame rate and video quality, or as far as graphics quality, HDR and Extreme is going to be the best. But for best graphic quality, Ultra HD is going to be the best. Either way, I think I'm going to basically keep it to HDR, mostly because I feel like it's some of the best experiences are going to be there, especially with the frame rate that we get here. Now, when it comes down to gaming, of course, we have 120 Hz display here, curved edges with a large battery. So 4,500 milliampere battery, again, charged up with the 65-watt charger that's included in the box, is obviously going to keep us on top of our game. And because we're running the 870, thermals are going to be actually a little bit better than what we typically see with an 888 chipset. Now, as far as Call of Duty Mobile here, when we go into the settings and of course under graphics, the best resolution we're going to be able to hear is literally the maxed configuration. So essentially 90 frames per second with a very high quality, and of course I like to go with dynamic as far as the color configuration. And again, very nice, very beautiful. You can definitely see the color representations that we have in here, especially on the Realme GT.
Changing mag, cover me. Contact with enemy! Enemy contact! Contact with enemy! Enemy contact! Target's in sight! Let's go! Target's in sight! Tango down! Contact with enemy! Target down! Reloading! Cover me! Target's in sight! Contact with enemy! Target's in sight! Contact with enemy! Target in sight! Enemy down!
As to be expected, the 870 performs like a champ. It's a very powerful processor. Again, it's the upgraded 865 Plus from last year. So definitely a great processor to go with, especially because we are going to get 5G, we're going to get some great processing power, and of course, in my opinion, better thermals than what we get with the 888. For the price point that we're looking for, under 500 bucks, even at the best configuration, that's the 12256. Also keep in mind, this also features the new Realme function that allows us to actually expand or add additional RAM by using the page file system off of the internal storage, meaning we're basically bookkeeping a certain number of gigabytes off your internal storage to augment the 12 gigs or even the 8 gig model if you decide to pick that one up. You can add all the way up to 7 gigabytes of internal storage. So overall, very much a very capable smartphone that offers us a lot of capabilities for not so much money. And of course, as you're seeing there with the camera experience, overall, the cameras are not going to disappoint. The front-facing experience, again, 1080p 60 frames per second, back-facing experience, 4K 60 frames per second, with a great Sony sensor that gives us a lot of capabilities. And of course, there's a lot of modes to support that with filters and of course stabilization, although that does also drop you down to about 1080p on the back sensor, but it does definitely give you guys that stable footage if you're looking for that. Night photography, astral photography, a whole bunch of things are also included in there. Let me know in the comments below, what do you guys think of the Realme GT Explorer Master Edition? Again, this is technically a second generation or another version of the GT that I covered for you guys not that long ago, and again, featuring the 870 from Qualcomm. This is TK. Thank you very much to Realme for allowing me to check out the Explorer Master Edition. We'll talk to you guys in the next video. Take care for now.